Crimson and clover over and over. That's right. What is up, Jeromes? Happy Tuesday out there, everyone, everywhere. Thank you for making us part of your day. By the way, Jimmy Eat World is up there in terms of most underrated bands. Like, I'll put Jimmy Eat World up there. I'll put Queens of the Stone Age up there for sure. What else? Reliant K, maybe? Yeah, just like bands. Oh, MXPX. Bands are just really good. Maybe don't get the time of day nationally like they should. But also, so people with bands are funny. People with bands are like people with craft brews, right? So they like when their craft brew is theirs. Like, it's small, it's underground, maybe it's regional. It's like, oh, people don't know about it. Oh, so when I talk with people, I can bring this up and I can look super sophisticated and into things, right? So, like, I only drink triple IPA made from the hops of like Egyptian hops brewed by a guy with 3 beards to hide his 5 neck chins in Portland in small batches. Batches are only so small that they're brewed in his 2 cupped hands, and he has small hands too. So that's how exclusive my craft beer is. Anyways, happy Tuesday. Jeromes, what's up on the live stream? Love when you guys come along, as well as if you catch us on demand. Pretty awesome too. Fully understand. 11 a.m. Central Time. So that was the most convenient time, but thank you for coming along. There you go. So like I said, 11 a.m. Central Time every single weekday. We're here with an hour, but really more like 52 minutes ish. Football talk, Vikings talk, Q&A, food, booze, all that stuff. All the good things in life, and just having this be the respite from when things obviously get too real in this world. 2020 has been a hell of a year, and it's barely June. Just great, cool. All right, so we put out there what your summer brew of choice is. Now, mine are a little weird. Yeah, I'll fully admit that, because I do like Clamato. So here we go. So just in terms of like an easy sipping after yard work type beer, I really do like the Bud Light Chelada. I do, and I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone likes drinking clam juice, which is what Clamato is. But I will say they are refreshing. Ooh, Clamato Extra Lime Chelada. Yeah. So I'll say that. Summer shandy for sure. One of the few things that Wisconsin actually gets right is Lion and Kugel's. Sam Adams Porch Rocker is really good as well. And just a lot of just really good summertime beers. Think about it too. If you add a touch of sweetness to the beers, just don't have it be like a daiquiri. I don't want that. If you want a daiquiri, you can legit drink a daiquiri. Where I love and respect Grain Belt. It's a great Minnesota institution, but man. Like, everyone and their mom hypes up Grain Belt Blue, right? So all this talk about this, I haven't had it in a while, but it's a blueberry beer. Man, that is thick like cough syrup. Like, it is too sweet. It's just, so got a 12-pack. I drank a half of one, which I'm not a big beer waster guy. I don't know, but Grain Belt, premium, Northeast, phenomenal. Yeah. Also, as far as like summer drinks, I have gotten older, gotten more refined, so you do enjoy the taste of like a good whiskey, a good scotch, a good tequila. Tequila definitely for summer, but nothing says summer like rum. You know what I mean? And as cliche as it is, just like Captain, it's like a Captain and Coke on a really hot day, a little bit of lime, just go win. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Love the guys in the live chat saying what's up. We'll do a couple shout outs here about halfway through the program. First up, JD Mack. I would really love and feel a lot more comfortable to bring in Josh Jerome McCown as the main backup, but I feel like Josh in a QB Kirk would not want on the roster. Your thoughts? I think Kirk would be fine with McCown. Let's see. Josh. Is he coaching somewhere now? Because he was the backup with the Jets before Simeon came in. They moved on to the Eagles in 2019. Well, they signed his I forgot he was at SMU and then he went to Sam Houston State. So, McCown knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. No! Yeah, I'm sure PA would have fun with that. It's got 17 different teams, which is just hilarious. Coaching career, blah, 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 blah. McCown is currently quarterbacks coach at some high school in North Carolina where his sons play. With his 2019 return to the NFL, the Eagles allowed him to fly to Charlotte on Mondays for high school practice and game playing, and then again on Fridays for game days. It's kind of funny. Right, so he played in one game for the Eagles last year. Didn't do terribly. Man, he even ran it for. It's funny. But I would sign Josh McCown. He does seem like a guy who obviously has interests outside of the game, in coaching, taking care of his kids. He is 40, does turn 41 on 4th of July. Born on the 4th of July. So I would be fine with it. I think Kirk would be fine with it. I don't know if McCown would do it. Laces out, Dan. I want to see the Vikings bring in Kelly Bryant. I think with some elbow grease, TLC, and some great coaching staff, the Vikings will have the next 3 or 4 years. You can have another Deshaun Watson. And the Vikings. All right, so Kelly Bryant was the guy who replaced Deshaun Watson at Clemson, and then Trevor Lawrence was like, hey. And then I want to say Bryant transferred to Mizzou. I want to say. All right, so sports ref. And he went undrafted. I don't think he's on a roster right now. So, the Vikings would have a shot at. Yeah, so, yeah. So, it's at Clemson, grad transferred to Mizzou. Yeah. So, he, does have a decently strong arm. Not the most accurate guy in the world. Does have some movement skills. I would be fine with him as, like, a long-term project. Like, I would like Kelly Bryant more than Nate Stanley or Jake Browning, to be honest. But yeah. Next up is Ethan Moon says Summer Shandy, hands down. Summer Shandy is just a good beer. Like, it's got the right amount of sweetness. It's got the lemoniness. It is good. It is sweet without going overkill. It's great. Griffin Creer. There's a new flavor of Sunkist where I live. Strawberry lemonade Sunkist. Woo! That or a strawberry banana body armor. All right, so in terms of summer drinks, Sunkist was the bee's knees back in the day. Sunkist and Squirt. Squirt was also great. Ooh, look at that. Also, since I'm from Minnesota, it's got to be pop. It is not soda. Oh, all right. So don't look up the term squirt. Just straight up squirt because the first result is not great. So now I have to worry about clicking here because we don't want to infect the work computer. Also, I don't want to search images. Squirt, pop. I should type soda, but Squirt is great. Also, something about college. So Squirt goes well with any type of booze. I will put that out there. Think about it. Squirt tequila, squirt vodka, squirt rum, squirt whiskey. You have a whiskey sour right there. It's great. Yeah. All right, so next up. All right, so drinking story from college. So one of my best friends, her parents are very comfortable. You know what I mean? So they had this really amazing house in our college town because she was from there, right? And so one night we just get like blackout wasted. There's a handful of us, and we just end up at their house, right? So we're in their basement. We're smoking cigarettes in their basement. And they have this big ass liquor and wine cellar, right? So we go through and grab whatever. I mean, we're drunk college kids. I mean, we're maybe 21 at this point, right? And she's like, go grab a couple bottles. So I go through, and so she's like, I don't know. Like at this stage, I have no idea what good liquor is, what bad liquor is. Like liquor to me comes in a plastic handle, and it's got a wolf on it. Siberian Wolf vodka. You know how it's good because it's got a wolf on it. Plus, it's $9. So I just grabbed 2 bottles, like 2 dusty ass bottles, right? And then we consume them, and then it's like whatever. Wake up the next morning. So I look at the bottle. And one of the bottles was a very nice vintage year. I forget what year specifically. Chateau Margaux, like a legit, like great vintage, like a couple $100 bottle of wine. And the bottle of booze was this, I forget the brand, but it was some like $1,000 bottle of scotch, like some really well aged, just really good single malt scotch. Just like, All right, these drunk college kids who wouldn't even know if they're drinking paint thinner or $1,000 bottles of booze. It's just like, it happens. Never have kids. There you go. That's the lesson in that. Next up. Any updates on Anthony Harris extension? I think everything's put on pause, but we'll see. Typically, Spielman does get extensions done at the beginning of training camp once people show up. And we saw it with, well, not Rudy. We saw it with Xavier. I saw it with a bunch of other players. So maybe then. Aaron Rodgers, BFF and lover. Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. You know who else is a Hall of Famer? Antoine Winfield. Agree on Winfield. Yeah, I put it out to the people on the Matt Ryan one because when we talked about quarterback tiers, I said that Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer because my judgment, say the name, Hall of Famer, yes or no. I said yes, but I put it out to you, the people. So we got 1,500 votes. 70% say nah. 30% say yeah. I think if he wins that Super Bowl, just hangs on for one more day, the 28-3 lead for sure. But yeah. Next up is Travis. Technically, I'm not old enough to drink, but I get sips of beer here and there with my dad's permission, and I really the hoppy stuff. So that could be my favorite in the future. That said, root beer floats are my favorite summer drink. Yeah, root beer floats are great, man. Especially you get that good like 1919 or Killebrew, Great Minnesota Institution root beer, and also get like the actual legit real vanilla ice cream. So not like the processed all that stuff. So get Breyers or get ice cream with as few ingredients as possible, like milk, cream, sugar, vanilla. That's it. That should be the ingredients, right? My kid loves root beer floats. It's so much fun. Actually, do have kids, even though they'll eventually drink your really expensive liquor. But do have kids because you experience all these different things. But like, what adult drinks a root beer float? But if you have a root beer float with your kid and like she's having so much fun, she's blowing bubbles and all that stuff, it's great. It's fantastic. Also, so my first beer was probably when I was 12, maybe. So I always had this running theory when I was in high school that my dad would buy this really crappy beer so that I wouldn't steal it. Like he would like his expensive beer was Busch Light or no Mick Golden. Like when the bonus checks came in, it was Mick Golden. But standard was probably Busch Light. Also in there was like Special Export Light. Ham's Light was in there too. Just not great stuff. But yeah, I do remember. Might have just been in our backyard. We're hanging out and grilling summer evening. No one's going anywhere. And he's like, and then I'm like, hey, being the precocious young kid I was, can I have some of your beer? He's like, you can have a whole one. Just we're gonna watch you. And I drank it. It was terrible tasting, but man. And that's the thing too. Like so many kids, if you go into college, like this, so many freshmen come in. They don't know how to handle their booze. They're gonna go out and party and they're going to get blackout drunk. They're going to make bad decisions. Bad things can happen, right? So, especially since I have a daughter, too. Like, I know it's controversial, but I would much rather my kid, like their first, if they want to drink, if they are going to choose to drink. If they don't, that's even better. But I do want, my first kids to understand what alcohol does to them and, what the potential tolerance is. Like, I would rather have that in my garage, like when we're having like a family get together. I would rather have that than having my daughter's first time experience being drunk, not knowing how to handle herself, not knowing what her limits are, in the basement of a frat house around 16 guys named Sully. I don't want that. I don't think any parent should want that either. So even though it's controversial, yeah, it's like my kids are underage, or probably will let them have a sip of beer. See what happens. This is going to be recorded forever, and now I'm going to be charged, aren't I? Just like, yeah, whatever. Next up, Charlie Boltman. Can you identify these two players based off their stats and the statement? A, is considered the greatest safety of all time, and B, player is a convicted rapist and drug trafficker. What? So are they both safeties? Yeah. All right, so I'm guessing B is Sharper, who played for the Saints and the Packers. And that is all. Player A is 64. Player A is Ed Reed, right? Because 64 picks. I'm going to say A is Ed Reed. Actually, let's check. PFR Ed Reed. Yeah. All right. So 64 picks, 9-time Pro Bowler. All right. Yeah. So there you go. Next up, Preacher Paul, hauling it for all ya. Ice cold tea or ice cold brew into dark beers. Any suggestions? Let's see, dark beer. I have become more of a fan of like Bocks. Like terms of Bock beers, like they're not darkest, but they are more full bodied. So Amber Bock is great by Michelob. Shiner Bock, yeah. I love Texas for a number of reasons. A, freedom. A, the people. A, C, the brisket. D, the tacos or the Tex-Mex. E, Shiner Bock. Shiner Bock is just a great all-around, all-purpose beer. It's dark and malty. You got the flavor there. It's light enough where you don't feel weighed down. Like, if you ever have a beer where you just feel just like exhausted after drinking a couple of them, yeah, Shiner Bock ain't that. Yeah. Next up is Gavin. No, I'm not old enough to drink, so I would say my favorite pop is Fanta. Don't you wanna Fanta? Bum bum. Didn't Fanta? No, like I was trying to think what the pop is of the Insane Clown Posse. That's Faygo, right? Yeah, like the Faygo they get from the Dollar Tree. That's in like 3-liter bottles. ICP soda. Faygo. Faygo flavors ranked by the Juggalos. Yeah, great. Next up is Eric Normal. Do you think Zimmer is just on a Band-Aid year? I think the writing's on the wall already for Gary, just for Mangel Kubiak to slide right into the driver's seat. Your thoughts? I do agree that Kubiak is an option, just lying in wait. I think ownership and Spielman know that. I think Zimmer knows that. But I think Zimmer is just so, cocksure of himself in a great way that is like, all right, I'm on a final year of my deal. I don't need a 1-year Band-Aid deal like last year. I'm going to coach my ass off, and if we do well, I'll keep my job. If we don't do well, I don't deserve my job. I actually think that he does think like that, just that old school sort of stoic Bud Grant adjacent philosophy. So I think Zimmer knows what the score is, and I think he's fine with that. Nick Doroff. Landon Kugel, Summer Shandy. Woo, yeah. If you could bring back one player, if you could bring back one of the following Minnesota Vikings, I'm assuming in their prime, who would it be? Kleinsausser, Spurgeon, Kleinsausser. Although I will say that Jeff Dugan was underrated. The Pride of Maryland always jacked up his blocking ratings in Madden. My lead blocker, Jeff Dugan, number 83 in your program, numero uno in your hearts. Spurgeon Wynn might be the worst quarterback in Vikings franchise history. We're actually going to do a list of that. Spurgeon Wynn is up there. Josh Freeman's obviously up there. Donovan Fatnab is probably up there too. Archie Manning's probably, yeah. Erasmus James, never draft a Badger. Just never do it. Hey, live chat, let us know where you're watching from. To give a couple shout outs. I always love doing that. Boom. All right, so next up is Kyle Rippentrop. Summer beverage. Gotta love the classic Arnold Palmer. Agree. Lemonade, iced tea. Go win the day. Nothing wrong there. There are NFL territory maps all over the internet. And most of the time, the west half of South Dakota is Denver. I live in South Dakota southeast South Dakota. Right, so like Sioux Falls. But regularly visit the west half, and I would like to say the majority of football fans there are Vikings. What corrections do you think need to be made to the maps? All right, so let's pull one up. NFL fan maps. Yeah, so these are all the places. You see them on social media all the time. All right, here's a good one. All right, so this one is from the Atlantic, so I already don't believe it to begin with. Actually, all right. Dun, 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 dun. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Boom, boom, boom. He was a good friend of mine. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so we got the map up. So this looks like it goes by counties, which is great. But this one shows that, all right, so Broncos, yeah. Now, here's the thing, though. Since the Vikings were introduced to the league in 1961, and before the merger. So there was actually a lot of Vikings fans that were in Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, even out to Denver, Wyoming, and Montana, just because that was the only NFL team in the area, because the Broncos, Chiefs were obviously AFL teams. So yeah, I think that there is a lot of holdover there. I don't think these maps are necessarily accurate. I think it's just more like geographical. It's like whatever. But yeah, family ties certainly do influence who you root for. Like, lots of transplants, like lots of families who grew up in Minnesota, like their dad was a Vikings fan, then they moved to, I don't know, wherever, and then the kids are still Vikings fans, the grandkids are Vikings fans. That happens, and it's easier than ever now with the internet, as well as an NFL Game Pass and also Sunday Ticket, etc. Yeah, so I do agree with this one. I mean, it's pretty close. Obviously, the entire state of Minnesota. If you put part of Minnesota as Packer fans, especially part of the Twin Cities, I'll believe you. Because, again, as we've said, a lot of Packer fans move from Wisconsin to the Twin Cities because there are jobs here. Yeah. Well, maybe not anymore. But, yeah, North Dakota, that's Vikings territory. Yeah, Iowa is pretty well split. There's a lot of Bears fans in Iowa, too. So, yeah. All right, next up is... Sure. Connor Gutter, Guaverton IPA. It's guava, strawberry, lactose IPA brewed in Nisswa, Minnesota by Big Ats Brewing Company. So refreshing, not bitter or hoppy at all. I'm going to check that out. I'm a big fan of Big Axe. They do have some really good brews. I have not come across the guava one yet. I'm not really a big IPA guy, but we'll definitely check that out. It's on the list. All right, a couple shout outs here. All right, where are we going? Ooh, good number of them. Let's see here. Drew Brees, MT who Zimmerman. So guys, oh, we got Brees and Michael Thomas in the chat. Okay. Okay. Purple Rain Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. MIT03 watching from Duluth. Love Duluth. Aerial Bridge and shit. Yeah. Stanley Morros, Skull from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Wayne Davis, Owatonna, Minnesota. Central Minnesota represent. Rayshawn Ivory, Skull from St. Paul, Minnesota. What up? Karsten Cisneros, Old Chicago. Oh, wait, the restaurant or the city? Man. Brian Kayukin said... Sean Payton sucks. Agreed. John Hoffius, Rochester, Minnesota. Med City representing. Mike Benham, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Shout out up Norte. That Vikings fan from Washington. Skull from Washington State. Not D.C., sadly. What up? What is Washington State nickname? Northwest? Akelin 14, Skull from Guatemala. What's up? It's hot. Preacher Paul, Holland for Ellen, just north of Vancouver, rolling up to Seattle. What up? Tyler Kennedy, Skull from Lincoln, Illinois, and it's Ken Adi. Yeah, nailed it. Man, this is good stuff. Also, Daniel Withers, Skull from Prestwick, Scotland. Love it. I was going to bust out the Scottish accent, except can't do it. Can't do it. It's rough. Next up is David Bryant, strongest arm in the NFL Vikings history. Strongest arm in the NFL? I think it might be Josh Allen. I really think it might be. Maybe Josh Allen, maybe Brett Favre. Oh, Burt Jones is a good one. Actually, Jamarcus Russell is a good entry in that one. Because Jamarcus Russell, like, legit. Marino's up there, too. I might say Jamarcus Russell. Vikings, I think it's pretty clearly Dante. Like, maybe Favre, except Favre had been aged out by that point. So I'm going to say Dante. Dante had a cannon, man. Those little hands. Just getting after it. Iced tea, and yes, down here in the South, we drink sweet tea. Love some sweet tea. I love everything about the South. South is great. Also, give me an Arnold Palmer like every day. Stay safe, Andy. God bless. God bless you too, DB. Although I like iced tea, not really down with sweet tea. I think it's something that you have to be born with. And Just as you get older, like sugary drinks, like especially like good sweet tea, you actually feel like the grit of the sugar, just like in there. Like, yeah, it just doesn't do. Like I cannot remember the last time I drank a regular pop. Like when we talked about the Captain Cokes earlier, it's always like Coke Zero, even though like it's debatable. Like what's worse for you, high fructose corn syrup or aspartame or sucralose? Probably gonna find out like 50 years sucralose causes tumors of the medulla, and you can start reading minds. Yeah. Eric Hansen, summer beverage, hams. Any summer craft brew for sure. Coffee, underrated summer drink. Yes. Iced coffee or just coffee? Actually, I drink hot coffee every single day of every single year. What's your favorite kind of touchdown to see? A long bomb to star receiver or a dominant, skillful run by a star running back? All right. Both are great. Oh, I think my favorite might be. If I had to pick between the two, I would pick. I would pick running back run, especially if they bust a bunch of tackles. Like if we're talking about like peak Adrian. Well, Adrian just ran away from everyone, but like Marshawn Lynch, get off me, bro. Type of run, yes, that. But also. Fat guy defensive touchdown, specifically fat guy tipped ball at the line of scrimmage, interception touchdown. Just rumbling. I love it. Pulford Skull, love the AB video. Could you imagine the Vikings made a couple cuts of expendable people and signed Cam and AB? Woo! Let's do it one time. If Kirk got abducted, Cam launching balls at AB and Thielen. If Cousins did get abducted, Cam would be at the top of my list of guys to call. AB, a lot of hurdles to get over, but would he sign for a minimal deal with lots of incentives? Maybe. Sure. Brian Kayukin. Jeff Gladney will match Champ Bailey's 10 interception season this year. Boom. Wow. That's high praise. I would love to see it. Tristan. He'd be first team All-Pro for sure. Tristan, I'm not sure if it's me, but I find it extremely ironic that we finally have a quarterback, but none of the fans seem to like him. That's the thing about Cousins, is that you even go back to Washington fan base. Like you would think that a franchise quarterback in his prime just leaving would upset the fan base, except it was really split. I would say just anecdotally, it's probably like a 70-30 split in terms of fans who were like, whatever, buy Kirk, as opposed to fans who were upset that he left. Right. So, I mean, Kirk got big stats, respect, had some great seasons, especially last year. 2018 was more a compiling season, but I think he played some of his best ball of his career last year, won his first playoff game, starting to shake off some of those narratives about him, but it's still Kirk. I think that barring him winning like a dozen Jerome Bardys, it's still going to be Kirk. Like Kirk Cousins could win a Super Bowl this season, be a big reason why the Vikings did throw the game-winning touchdown, and Vikings fans would still be like, meh. Trey Lance, trade up from 32 one time. Thomas Miles Jr. Sun tea. I like to put a cup of sugar in this ancient Sun tea jug my parents have had for as long as I can remember. Throw it in 2 black bags of tea, 1 green tea. Let's sit on the porch for a while. Just nectar of the gods. Sun tea is really good. Sun tea is underrated because there's something about making regular tea and letting it steep, but there's something about, well, it's not really cold brew. I guess outdoor temperature brew, where you just let the tea bags get in there, the sun, the vitamin D gets into this tea. It just tastes really, really good. Do you think he can get the young defense perform on 1 year without being able to be on the field with the noobs so far? I think he can do it. I mean, it is still football. Do have to learn the Zimmer scheme. There is a bit of a learning curve, especially for defensive backs, especially for slot defensive backs, especially if Gladney's going to get in the mix. But I think Hughes will be there. Yeah. Thomas Miles Jr. I do remember Michael Jordan was a baseball player. Pepperidge Farm remembers. That was fun. So I was 7, 8, 9 when Jordan played baseball and certainly was not suspended. And also, yeah, the Rockets won their 2 straight NBA titles just because Jordan wasn't there. Like that does deserve a big asterisk. No, those would be great finals. If Jordan was still there, 94, 95, against Hakeem, Vernon Maxwell. Was Clyde there or was that afterwards? I mean, those were good Rockets teams. I don't know if they would have beat Jordan. Like, there's a reason why the finals with Jordan never went past game 6, and he's 6-0. I think they would have won 8 straight NBA titles and just completely put to bed who the GOAT is. All right. Well, it is to bed. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. LeBron is not. All right. So next up, Husk Gamer 15. What will Justin Jefferson NFL contract look like? That could be standard boilerplate. Basically, since the rookie wage scale came in, I mean, there isn't a lot of huff and puff. There is some debate about offset language. That's why Joey Bosa was number 3. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? Might have been 3. But that's why he held out and actually missed some time because they're arguing about offset language. Now, does offset language factor in with the number 3 overall pick? Offset language is if you get cut, are we still on the hook for paying you that full salary, or does it get to offset to what you signed for with your next team? Now, are you really going to cut the number 3 overall pick before his rookie deal expires? Probably not, unless you're Deion Jordan. Yeah. Let's see here. By the way, is the Mamba in your top 5 NBA players of all time? Oh, great segue. So Jordan's 1. Jordan is 1. Abdul-Jabbar is 2. LeBron is 3. Chamberlain 4. Yeah, I think Mamba might be 5. Mamba number 5, RIP. But you're still missing on like Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird. It's tough. It really is tough. Plus, you miss on Bill Russell. Respect about George Mikan, generationally, back in the day. Yeah, it's tough. But I think he would. But also, if you ask me tomorrow, maybe he won't. But yeah, RIP Kobe. As well as everyone who was lost in that. God, 2020 is long. That felt like that happened 5 years ago. Yeah. John Gordon, $2 in super chat. Fat guy touchdown. Linval 2018. Enough said. Fully agree. Hard agree. Yeah, there we go. Got a couple of shouts. Or are you guys just talking to the Saints fans? Next up, Huskgamer 15. Is Jimmy John's only a Midwestern thing? I don't know. Is it? Let's see, Jimmy John's locations map. Jimmy John's great, by the way. All right, so here's a map. Jimmy John's non-compete zones. Jimmy John's locations. All right, that one makes more sense. Yeah, all right, so yeah, predominantly Midwest. A couple out east, couple in the south, couple in Texas. That's about it. Jimmy John's is good. Like in terms of like chain sub places, Jimmy John's is great. Herbs and Gerbs is also a good one. I think they're local too. But yeah, just something about Jimmy John's. Like the bread is really good. Toppings are all fresh. Lots of meat. Meat is great. Gonna give you lots of meat. Yeah. Next up is Mr. Popo. Who would be a good replacement for Roger Goodell? God. See, that is such a tough job because, A, you're not working for the league. You really aren't. You're not working for the fans. You're not working for the players. You're working for the 32 owners. And people, when you look at Goodell's decisions, a lot of them, like fans get mad at a lot of his decisions. And I fully understand that just optically, if you were actually in charge to run the league as opposed to working for 32 owners, that makes sense. But if you take every decision that Goodell has ever made and it's like a CEO who's responsible to 32 shareholders only, right? So it's always about the shareholders. So actually, it is a perfect example. But every decision he has made, if you put it through the lens like, hey, I need to make 32 owners happy, it makes a lot more sense. But yeah, he does make $40+ million a year. It is a thankless. It is a not even polarizing. Everyone hates Roger Goodell. Who would be a good replacement for him? So you can weigh the merits of bringing in someone from outside of football, someone who just has a lot of leadership experience. You can look to politics. I'm not going to name a name because I don't want to be polarizing people right now. Or you go from someone who has been in football. Like Oliver Luck is a name that comes to mind. Obviously he was the commissioner of the XFL. Didn't quite work out, that one. But I think if you do have someone in there that has worked on the legal side, has been in the league before, worked with a team, won't be afraid to make a decision that is best for the league, best for the fans, sometimes against the owners, and not afraid to do that, as opposed to being like a feckless stooge. That'd be great. My guy, Kevin Warren. When the Vikings front office for a number of years just named Big Ten commissioner, I think he would be great. I think Kevin Warren is a very strong leader of men. You see how he's acted when he was with the Vikings, especially just decisive. Like, Kevin Warren was the one who wanted to put Adrian Peterson up on blocks as soon as the child abuse stuff came out. Like, he was no nonsense. This has to happen. I think Kevin Warren is the wise, no nonsense type of leader who would be a great NFL commissioner. And frankly, if he does great things in the Big Ten for a couple of years, which no doubt that he will, I think he should be the next NFL commissioner. Should. Either that or Pat McAfee. One of the two. Kevin Warren or Pat McAfee. Next up, Mr. Popo. Who is more on the Hall of Shame, the Saints or Houston Astros? So the Saints, yes, they did rob the Vikings and the Cardinals. They did end the career of Kurt Warner and basically Brett Favre. And yeah, they did make a major disdain on the game, even though it was something that a lot of players have done, a lot of teams have done. Sure, still no excuse. And also, Sean Payton should still be suspended from the league. The Astros, that was a systematic, just like, conspiracy of cheating, right? And there is a big, huge advantage if you're the batter, if you know what pitch is coming, right? So the pitcher can't keep you off balance. They can't change things up. All the tendencies go out the window. All the scouting reports, all that blah, blah, blah. You know exactly what pitch is coming. And that is huge. So I would say Astros, but still F the Saints. Right in the face. Fresh Tucks. Orange juice, Kool-Aid, ice cold water. Refreshing. There you go. Stanley Morrow, Sandman's porch rocker. Aha. Or at night on the patio chilling with the Captain Coke. Aha. Stanley Morrows. You and I, same wavelength, bro. Next up, Lord Thick Chunka. It's a hell of a screen name. 3 questions. Will Irv Smith be the tight end one eventually? What do you think the order of the wide receivers will be? Thielen, I think it will be. So in terms of targets, we'll do that. I think it'll be Thielen, Jefferson, BC, Sharp, Osborne. Yeah. If Cook gets hurt again, could we trade him for draft capital and put Madison in the number 1 role? I don't think you'd be able to trade him for much. Plus, he's out of contract after the season, so it would have to be like a sign and trade. I don't see that happening if he comes off like another catastrophic injury or is hampered again. I think the Vikings will just have to let him go, take whatever compensatory picks they get. And I do think Madison could be a lead back in this league. Cyberbullying 123. 805 is always a good beverage choice. What Vikings player is most likely to get drunk and call their ex and tell them that they miss her? I don't know. Cousins, except I don't think he gets drunk. So maybe Barr. Maybe Chad Beebe. Actually, yeah, Chad Beebe. He has half of a Smirnoff Ice, and then he's just on the Snapchat. All right, so what is the 805? 805 beer. Cali. All right, so I've seen this in stores. I've not had the opportunity to partake. I'll put that on the list. Yeah, love it. Next up, Bawa Tabaz. Kevin Love, a Hall of Famer. So when you say the name, I'd say no, but let's look at the stats. Kevin Love. K-Love. All right, so 12-year career. Let's see, how many time All-Star? 5-time All-Star. Was he All-NBA? How many times? Was he ever an All-NBA? Actually, we'd find that out. Wiki. All right, so Kevin Love, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA second team. I mean, nice stats. Career 18, and 11 guy. So career double average guy. Nah, if Chris, a better question, is Chris Bosh a Hall of Famer? Actually, wait, is Chris Bosh in the Hall of Fame? Passed over as Hall of Fame finalist. So there you go. K-Love is not as good as Chris Bosh, and Chris Bosh is on the borderline. So no. Tristan, what's your favorite player that isn't a Viking? For me, it's Kyler Murray. He's one player outside of Minnesota that I consider to buy his jersey. I do like Kyler. South Korea represent. The plight of the Asian football player. All we have is Dat Win, Ed Wang, half of Hines Ward, and half of Kyler. That's it. Timmy Chang never got a fair shot. Also, we do partially claim Mariota, even though he's Hawaiian. It's like, whatever, close enough. Like Kyler for sure. I like Nuke. So Kyler and Nuke, that makes sense. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's just a beast. Love Aaron Donald. Lamar Jackson for sure. As much as I hate to admit, I do like watching Christian McCaffrey play. He is interesting. Saquon for sure. I have a feeling I'm going to love Antonio Gibson and LaVisca Chenault as well. Yeah. A Clinton 14. Who do you think they would have drafted? The Dolphins drafted El Jefe instead of Mbingane. Let's see here. Wiki 2020 NFL draft. All right, so I think the Vikings still would have traded for a cornerback. So Igbenegane right before Gladney. I mean, maybe they would have gone Igbenegane. See why the cornerbacks were in the realm. Jalen Johnson, Trevon Diggs, maybe one of them. Or they may have traded back again. I mean, if Gladney wasn't there, if they weren't completely sold on Igbenegane, maybe they dump back to the top of the second round, get some more draft capital, and still come away with a Jalen Johnson. It's possible. Or maybe even Fulton. Yeah. Fulton dropped, because he cheated on a piss test. So what? Who among us have not... he didn't have the Wiznator, but who among us have not filled a fake penis, a prosthetic penis with clean urine to pass a drug test? Who has not fake penised cast the first stone. That's what I say to you. Andy's evil twin. Best drink would be Corona. Don't make coronavirus. Remember when Cedric Griffin was good back then? Yeah, Cedric Griffin was actually good opposite of Antoine Winfield for a while before his just knees gave out. Texas. Hook 'em. Julian Marker, Spotted Cow, New Glarus Brewing. Yeah. Well, again, one of the few things that Wisconsin does well. Spotted Cow is great. I have made a couple of trips across the river just to partake in some Spotted Cow. Also, so Spotted Cow Raspberry Tart. We talked about like sweet beers before. This one it's not overly sweet. It's got the right bit of tartness. Like I'm not a big sour beer guy, but this also isn't a sour beer. But this is just good. It is really good, refreshing. A little bit heavy, but still refreshing. Yeah, get that. All right, next up is Tristan. What would you give up for the top 5 pick in next year's draft? Kirk. Depends what you're targeting. If you're going up that far, it better be for a quarterback, and that would take probably multiple first-round picks since the Vikings will be drafting at the back of the first round. Head coach, who do you think will have the longest career in this year's first-round class? So not the running backs. So first it goes to the tackles, goes to the quarterbacks. Not cornerbacks. Maybe the safeties. If only there was a kicker. So Edwards-Helaire, you gone? No. Say, I would. God, I was gonna say Tua, just because he's the youngest, but also Tua you have the health issues. Actually, I'm going to say Austin Jackson, where I'm not fully in love with Austin Jackson, but he doesn't turn 21 until August. So he's got age working his factor. Like, Austin Jackson's 4 years younger than Jeff Gladney. So he's got that working for him. He plays a premium position. He plays a position that has shown that you can have a long career. Look at Whitworth. You look at Jason Peters. So, yeah, I'm going to say Austin Jackson. Stick around. Yeah. Next up, Aaron Rodgers, BFF, and lover. Good question, though. Favorite beverage would be some ice cold Dr. Pepper. Hey, are you the SEC guy? Larry, the Dr. Pepper guy? Who is your guy, Chad Greenway or Anthony Barr? People forget, Chad Greenway was a bad freaking man back in the day. Like, Chad Greenway was a legit Pro Bowler, borderline All-Pro linebacker, just a tackling machine. Pride of Iowa, pride of South Dakota, where he played like four-man football. Like they had to play basketball 3-on-3 at his high schools. But yeah, football was just someone had to play all-time quarterback back in the day. Chad Greenway was a dude. Like, I would say, respect what Anthony Barr's done. I still think that Zimmer does have him playing out of position, but Chad Greenway was a true linebacker through and through. Great in the community, still here in the Twin Cities, does great things. Chad's locker program is phenomenal. Does Grey Duck vodka, which is great too. Very refreshing. Highly recommend for summer beverage. But yeah, people remember Chad Greenway. Later years when he was a liability in coverage, tackling skill had gone. Teams schemed to keep the Vikings in base defense just so that they could pick on Chad Greenway in coverage. I miss that, but that wasn't Chad. Like, peak Chad Greenway in the middle 2000s was an absolute beast. He was a monster. Respect that man. By the way, so when Chad Greenway had that pick six at TCF Bank Stadium. Oh, against the Chargers, yeah. When Chad Greenway had the pick six against the Chargers at TCF, like, he should have just ran out of the tunnel and just retired, because this is when Chad was really starting to regress. But he should have just kept going through the tunnel. I'm out. Pull Devontae Davis. Just retired right at that moment. I'm done. I'm gone. 52 out. Has 52 been reassigned? Wiki roster. Because I don't think the 52 should be retired. Oh, Cheeseburger Eddie Yarbrough. There you go. Yeah. Next up. Head coach, did you know that Fanta started in Nazi Germany? Is that true? Jamie, look that up. I needed Jamie. Fanta originated as a Coca-Cola substitute during the American trade embargo with Nazi Germany. Oh. There you go. Then did Coke buy them? Yeah. Then Coke bought them. It's fine. All right. So, yeah, the trade embargo on Germany. They couldn't get Coca-Cola products, so then they just invented their own. Cool. Also, look up Volkswagen and Mercedes, as well as Honda. Well, not Honda, Toyota. Actually, wait. What came first? Honda came first, right? Yeah. Next up is because one of them worked for the other. Because either Toyota worked for Honda or Honda worked for Toyota. It's one of the two. But Toyotas are great. See, history. So 20s. None of this matters. None of this really matters. Yeah, but Toyotas are great. You put hundreds of thousands of miles on all their vehicles. So we have a hybrid sedan of theirs, and it just got a new engine, transmission, and it had a new hybrid battery before we bought it. So it's basically a brand new car, like on an older chassis, and it's got 270,000 miles on it. We're going to run that thing into the ground. Like, that thing might be my daughter's car. We're going to take care of it. Yeah. Zach Hazlius. Miles Liu, cheeseburgers and beer. Hard to agree. It's tough to argue with that. Zach Hazlius, who will start opposite Daniil? A Fadi, Jalen Holmes, I think it'll be a Fadi. I think of the bulk of snaps opposite Daniil. Also, favorite drink is fruit punch. Gavin O., who is a realistic receiver that the Vikings could trade for before the season? Maybe John Ross. Seems like the Bengals are ready to give him up. Give up a 6 for John Ross one time? Brian Kayukin. Compare Champ Bailey and Deion Sanders stats. Who's the true cornerback GOAT? Cool nickname aside. Beverage Margarita. Margarita. All right, so PFR. Champ Bailey. PFR. Deion Sanders. All right, so Champ played 15 seasons. Tackles aren't really that important for corners. 52 picks? Damn. I'll say 10 picks in one season? Shit. And then, all right, so that was P. Kim. 4 pick sixes. Deion. How many passes broken up? 203. Not bad. So Deion. So he played 14 years, 53 picks, 25 passes broken up. He retired for 3 seasons. So I will say that sometimes a lot of stats for quarterbacks can be misleading because if you look at Revis' stats, like Revis doesn't have a ton of passes broken up. He doesn't have a ton of interceptions either in the grand scheme of things. But just quarterbacks didn't throw at him. Same thing with Richard Sherman to a degree. Same thing with Deion. Like Deion was, he certainly wasn't first in respect to Darryl Green, but he was one of the prototype flashy cornerback ones. I'm going to take away your wide receiver one. I'm going to follow him either side, X or the Z. I'm going to follow him into the slot. I'm going to do all that. I'm going to do it flashy, right? And I'm going to take a couple TDs back to the house, even though he only had 9 pick sixes and a fumble return for a touchdown. How many Champ have? 4. That makes sense. Also, how many punt return touchdowns did you have? Deion, like that gets lost in the shuffle. Deion was a bad man, punt and kick returns. All right, so he had 6 career punt returns, 3 career. He had 1,000 yards in kick returns with the Falcons, 92. All right, so let's see here. So he was a 6-time All-Pro. Champ was a 3-time All-Pro. I mean, yeah, Champ does have better like bulk stats, but I think Deion at his peak Deion was still the better cornerback. Next up is Stanley Morris. I honestly think Manning is second worst backup in the league. Foles is fails with insert corniest New Jersey accent here. Worst is fails. Also, the goddamn Jets. Oh, yeah, David Fails is the backup of the Jets, isn't he? That's rough. Mo Abdul 99. Strawberry lemonade. Strawberry lemonade. A very underrated drink. Agree. Also, why do the Vikings get enough? Why do the Vikings get enough? Because everyone hates them. That's all. I remember nobody believed we would win against the Saints. Yeah, and the video we did for tomorrow, Peter King, his power rankings had the Vikings at 11, Saints are at 3. What happened? What happened in the offseason to just completely flip those? I don't know. Andy's evil twin. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken, because also, so I believe chickens developed from single-celled organisms to the animal that we now know as chickens. But I think before the eggs came in, they either gave live birth or it is some sort of like cellular reproduction, is just some sort of something like that. And eventually they became egg-laying animals. But I think that was a process. So I think technically the chicken came first. A. Clinton 14. Why do you think the defense struggles when faced the franchise Taysom Hill participates? I don't know. I feel like Zimmer's always struggle against mobile quarterbacks. And then, Taysom will eventually just uncork like a deep one. It is tough. Yeah, I should have been part of the game plan. Wasn't. Yeah. Cole Banham. Out of all the potential Super Bowl matchups we could have had, 98, 09, 2017, which AFC team would have had the best chance to beat? I think 09 easily beat Indy. Rest would have been tough. So 98 Broncos, 2000 Ravens, 09 Colts. Yeah. 09 Colts and 2017 would have been the Patriots. So I think the Colts would have been the easiest, then the Patriots, then the Broncos. That would have been super tough, though. And then 2000, the Vikings would have gotten their ass beat by the Ravens. Like that 2000 Ravens team, ain't no effing around with that team. It would not have been good. MIT 03. If you could have one offensive player play the whole offense and one defensive player to play the whole defense, who would you choose? And if Harrison, defense. Yeah, because offense is just pick an offensive lineman. So yeah, Brian O'Neill, defense, Harrison, maybe Kendricks, Hunter Williams. Sup, Skull from Coon Rapids. I think the worst quarterback in Vikings history is Christian Ponder, Matt Castle. They actually won a couple of games. Now, long-term starters, maybe. But also, man. Spurgeon Wynn. Josh Freeman. It's rough. Next up, Tristan. I think Brian O'Neill is becoming one of, if not the best right tackle in the NFL. That's astute. He deserves a lot more credit than he's getting. Agree. Ethan Griffith, big White Claw, black raspberry fan. I think all White Claws taste the same. It's kind of like LaCroix. I was like, oh, this one is Persimmons. It tastes like the lime. You were stranded on a desert island with 3 current Vikings. Who do you choose? I'm going with Daniil to help lift stuff. CJ Ham because he'd be good. Hang Mike Hughes because he'd bring that good. So I would pick Michael Pierce because if we had to resort to cannibalism, there's a lot of them there. I'm trying to think, which Viking do you think would camp the most? Probably Gideon. I'll pick Gideon. Gideon just for... I bet Gideon's a hunter. Yeah, so we go hunting together. That'd be great. Then also we could talk about how bad he sucks, and then he'd probably punch me. So Michael Pierce, Gideon. God, who's probably the best swimmer? Oh, I'll take Austin Cutting. Austin Cutting because through the Air Force Academy, I'm sure he had to take some sort of evasive, as well as he probably gone through POW training. He's probably had some sort of cold weather survival, actually no, desert island, some sort of survival training. So yeah, pick Austin Cutting, Ben Gideon, and Michael Pierce because we're gonna eat Michael Pierce. Great. Hunter Williams. It's a good question though. I like that one. Hunter Williams. Who is the worst ref and best ref in NFL history? I think the best is Gene Steratore or Ed Hockley. Worst ref has to be McCauley or Bill Levy. I think McCauley's up there for the worst. Mike Carey was a good ref. He is a train wreck on TV. So, yeah, Mike's... I feel like Hockley, he obviously loves the camera, but I think that he was fair and just most of the time. So I'll say Hockley or Mike Carey, and then the worst is... pretty easily Terry McCauley. Or who is the one who blew the coin toss in Detroit against the Lions? Yeah, that guy was pretty terrible too. All right, that's it. That is a live stream for the day. Thank you very much, Jeromes, for coming along. You guys are the best. If you want to support the work, pull us on the Venmo. It's right up there. Love you guys, as well as become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Hit that join box. Support the channel. Support independent work. It's very important right now. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time. Get after it. Until next time. Skull. Production value.